Welcome to Wildlife Outdoors with your host, Russell and Jose. If you have a passion for conservation of the outdoors, or you're enjoying a calming hike in the mountains, an exhilarating kayak trip on the river, feeling a fish on the end of your line, cooking on an open flame in a primitive campsite, or stalking big game, just waiting for the perfect shot, you're in the right place. So put on your boots and polarized sunglasses and come along for the ride.
Welcome back to another episode of Wildlife Outdoors. Today we have another exciting episode for you today. We have somebody that we've been trying to get on for a while, and we finally got our schedules worked out. But we have Armando from Orinoco Flies down in Colombia. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks.
Man, dude, we're so excited to have you on here because Jose and I have never been to Colombia or anywhere fishing really outside of the U.S. And Marco went on a trip last year down to Colombia, and he was telling us all his stories, man. So we're excited to have you on and ask you all sorts of questions.
Cool. Great. Love to start fishing, man.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah. So, I definitely need to make it happen at some point. So I see your hat there. You got Orinoco Flies on your hat. Is that your brand?
Yeah, man. That's my little beautiful company, Playtime, posting trips, but basically tying flies for jungle fish and ocean fishes also, for big stuff, big predator.
Dude, that's awesome. So you're not tying like a bunch of little small flies and chasing trout in the mountains or nothing?
Oh no, man, no. I do that for myself because around here in Bogota, I used to fish a lot for rainbow. We had some pretty nice reservoirs with big rainbows, which are not that great now. But one thing that I've been doing a lot, and this I did mostly all the like for 6 months straight in the pandemic, was fishing for carp. Man, I love
Really?
it. Yeah, I started fishing for those fish. Those things really bring your skills out.
Oh
They're
Yeah.
so difficult, and just watching them and the way they behave and how they come in, and you do a good cast, and then they come in and check it out, or like checking the flag like this and then like that, and going, yeah, gone. That was beautiful. I have a beautiful fishing. I have a beautiful fishery 3 minutes away from my house. I don't live in Bogota. I live outside. So that was my third home all the time while everybody was in the city or whatever was shut down. I was there fishing 3-4 times a week.
Dude, that's awesome.
Dang.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did
this.
during the pandemic as well. I went out and hit the water more often than I was prior because, I mean, we weren't doing as much. Nobody was doing anything. I'm going to be out in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So you tie a lot of big flies and you fish for a lot, like you said, jungle fish and ocean fish. So, like, what species are those? Because, I mean, we don't have, I know you got like Payara and Peacock bass and stuff
Yeah.
like that there.
Well, yeah. Those will be the bigger ones in Orinoco Basin region. Like the peacock bass. We have 3 species, the bigger one, and then a couple of smaller sizes. Though you can have them in the 10, 11 pound range. Being the others 20 to 30 pounds if you're lucky. And then you have Payara, which is, and Payara is my favorite fish of them all. Not that I don't like peacock, I love peacock, of course, but Payara they're special, man. I've been talking about Payara ever since the first time that I fly fished for them on a fly, fish for them, back in 1999. When I had my first Payaras, and then I had my first 20-pounder with. So crazy about them, obsessed. They fight just like they look. It's not a gnarly looking fish that fights like nothing. No, these things are gonna maul you and cut your fingers, run. They can break you super easy. They jump. Well, the speed, it's amazing. It's a beautiful fish and very technical, by the way. So yeah,
Okay.
that's one of those amazing fish in this fishery.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've seen those fish. I think the first time I ever saw a payara was watching River Monsters. Did you ever watch that show with
Yeah,
Jeremy Wade?
they're everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Oh, isn't
that's the
that
first
one?
time that I saw him. Yeah,
I think
and he had.
a payara was eating another payara, a middle, mostly like half their size, that he
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
dying, maybe.
I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that tells you about all these people. I think Marco had payara, right?
Small one. Richard
Okay.
Richard caught the big one.
Oh, okay, right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, he
remember the
got that. I
picture.
think it was like 12 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, the great thing is those can be average prices, more or less like 10, 12, 15 pounds. But then you go up to 20, 25, and these fish grow up to 40 pounds. So,
Really?
well, oh yeah, man. I'm still looking for this. It's hard to get a 30 pounder. But I saw one. I saw a 33 pounder out most of most people tall, thin, you know, very tall, thick shoulders, and the teeth were even thicker than any other one. I mean, a 40 pounder has to be a brain.
That's
I didn't
crazy.
even know they got that big. That's pretty wild.
I didn't either.
Lot. Well,
So when you're
it's
fishing for them, what's different? Like, do you have to use like bite wire or a different kind of fly specifically for them so they don't tear it up, or like how much different do you have to fish for payata compared to like a peacock bass?
well, it depends in which kind of water they're holding because they can be in white water, very fast water in the pools. It depends on the kind of river that you're fishing, of course. Most of the time, you'll be fishing them in faster currents, but you can find them in slow uh, motion river, and you'll see them rolling. It's like a purpose. You see them rolling around. So
Really?
yeah, you have to use wire. Those teeth are super now. Um, and then when I began fishing for this fish, the first time I was using what was, I don't know, like a 5 inch fly. And I was lucky because that day the river was dropping. That was in the Orinoco. The river was dropping, and somehow a frenzy was happening. Because all this water is rushing down from the savannas and the other rivers. But there's a lot of food. And the minute that I went to this boulder and I set my line, put my fly in the water to set my line, boom! I had the first strike on a 5 inch fly. It was a black one. And that day I had several in the 6, 8 pound range. They're very difficult to hook, by the way. And the bigger ones, I lost them. And I thought, this is it. This is, I know now how to catch a payara. From that day on, not a single strike. They wouldn't, nothing, man. They wouldn't even nail my fight. They wouldn't care. So that all, you know, makes you think what's going on. I was there for a month, so there was some good time to see what was happening because 5 inch, 6 inch, 6 inch files for pickup, that were good. That's perfectly fine, but not Payara. So I was remembering when I was younger and I went trolling with the big lures, the rapalas and all those, which were huge. We were using what, like 16 inch? Or no, no,
Uh-huh.
no, 9, 10 inch rapalas. And we were fishing them very deep. And that was usually the best thing you could get for Payara. So that made me think, okay, so what I need is a big flat, like huge. Yeah. And back in the day, you couldn't load Google the whole thing because there was not enough uh, info. So I would take out like fish flies and stuff like that and try to to copy that, and I began developing bigger flies. Uh, you know, using them, seeing seeing them after the fly. Sometimes I wouldn't hook them. That's part of the learning curve. But definitely, the bigger fly was doing something. And then the addition of the single tip, very nine ideas, single tips to throw those things down, even in the swing. You can swing those flies, and sometimes you get a bite in the swing. It's
Uh huh.
difficult to hook them in the swing, but definitely you'll get excited, man, once you feel that strong
Oh yeah.
tug. And with that, now that I've developed the tube flies, Payara tube flies, I think those are even better because they tend to last longer because they slide away from the rig when you hook. So
Hmm.
the teeth are not mauling the fly, and then you can rig them any way you want. You can use any tandem or a trailer hook back in the tail or in the middle, whatever. Very versatile. So that's what I'm using now. Like, it's very big, like 9-10 inch tooth part.
Oh wow. And what materials
Yeah,
do you tie on those? Do you use synthetics or do you use actual fur?
no, it's synthetic. And fur will be, those I think, well, fur moves awesome, but it absorbs a lot of water. You won't enough water than you need because these are big flies. You still need to, you don't need that much weight, right? So I'm
Hmm.
using synthetics, just synthetics. By the way, I love the bucktail, but if it's hard for you guys to find the same length of furs in bucktail for a consistent length in
Yeah.
price, imagine here in Colombia, man. No way. So with synthetics, was given the chance to tie any long consistently.
That makes sense.
Uh,
Are there any colors that are hot? So when you're fishing for those big fish, do they typically tend to key into brighter colors? Or I noticed you said you've caught your first bite out on a black fly. Is it
well,
does it matter really?
well, black is great. I think black is an amazing color. Something always happens with black. People maybe the contrast and
Hmm.
because sometimes you're fishing really big, right? But
Hmm.
one of my favorite flies is that I call the salton, which is the jumper fly. This is an actual fish you're gonna see migrating in the Orinoco, and they jump. They'll jump. That's why they call jumpers, salton. So I tie this one. This is white, basically white, silverish with a dark dorsal, and that one is one of those great producer flies. Then I have the usual fire tiger, you
Hmm.
the greens, and I throw a little bit of blue in the black one, the purple and black, and then I have another one that is imitating an arenco, which is another fish in that region that usually migrates in the beginning of the dry season, and they are kind of golden, yellowish
Hmm.
color. So those are great. I mean, when Payara wants to eat, go eat anything. But if you're looking for the bigger one or something that really wants to come up, because you have to make them come up from the river bottom, right? Because this is the current, and they won't be in the current losing energy. They're gonna be right there, just waiting for something good to come in. So if
I
you show
see.
them something big that is worthy of giving it a try, you may get a bigger one, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That is awesome.
where my learning curve goes, and
Yeah,
it's
I would
still
say
going.
so. Man, because we have pickerel here where I live, which is very similar. It's like a smaller pike or like a small muskie, and that's probably the
Uh-huh.
closest thing we have in my region that's anything close to a payara. And they typically bite on bright colors whenever I'm out fishing for them. And I'll tie these articulated, probably like 5 to 6 inch long craft fur bait fish looking things, and I like to use a lot
Yes.
of fire tiger colors or bright chartreuse and reds and oranges and that's what I
Yes.
have the most luck on. I've caught them on the typical duns and olives and blacks, but the bright
Yeah.
colors is normally what seems to entice them. So I was wondering if it was the same there, but that we don't really have pickerel too much in the current here. It's normally in the lakes and stuff. So it's crazy to
Oh,
think about
Clearwater.
a toothy fish in the current that you have to try to entice to bite, and then just to think about the power they have and the current on top of it, dude. I need to go.
Oh man, you see 100 yards of blackting in 1 second. They just go because
That's insane.
obviously they're swinging with the current, and the currents are pretty fast. And sometimes they'll turn like this, instead of going like this, they'll turn to rest, but they're still being pushed by the current, so you're still fighting that thing forever.
Man.
Something that I've noticed, sometimes you find them in a spot, for example, and you get 3 bites, for example, and then from the 3 bites you land one, which is average, about deficit. Then you repeat the same place. Maybe you have another bite, and that's it. So what I do is I change colors, fly colors, and get in the same spot, and maybe that brings them up to 2 more times before they shut down, absolutely shut down. So I don't know. They're smart. When they're not, no,
Yeah.
that's stupid, Smart fish.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so, do they like to dig down into brush and find logs and cover, or do they just run in open water?
It depends on the river. If it's like the Orinoco, for example, with this very strong currents, even white waters, they'll just run. But when you find them in softer currents, in tributaries where you can see them rolling or anything, and you get them, they usually like to go for the snaps. And stopping them is just like trying to stop a big peacock. It's very hard. Sometimes, most of the time they break it.
Now I'd like to kick it to today's sponsor, Foretold Coffee Company. Elevate your outdoor adventures with Foretold Coffee's premium single origin coffees, meticulously roasted to satisfy both specialty coffee professionals and nature enthusiasts alike. Founded by former airborne cavalry scout Joshua Sandoval, his mission is to bring the mountains home with every cup. Experience their 3 flavors, Peruvian cocoa, El Salvadoran bourbon, and Mexican honey, which is my favorite. So check them out at foretoldcoffeeco.com.
So what kind of rod do you need to bring when you go fishing for payara? Do you have to bring like a big stick to turn them away from the current, or because I think Marco, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Marco, you said you guys were throwing a lot of 8-weights and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But you had bigger stuff with you. You brought like 10s and
I took down 2 8-weights, 2 10s, a 9, and a 11. No, a 12. And the 12 didn't get much use. I think Richard caught his on a 9-weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're strong fish, man. I hooked into one solid one right near camp early in the morning, and that fish, I mean, it took me from being on, facing outside of the boat to the very bow of the boat and down. And then the fly came out of its mouth because it was a single hook fly. It was a game changer. So I didn't get a good hook on it, but man, that was probably the most powerful tug I've ever felt. And, that's why I'm going back, because I want my payara. That little one didn't do it for me. It put up a nice little fight, but I'm coming back for 10 and up,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. 10 weight rods, 11, 9 is okay. I didn't use a 9. My rods go in pair. 8, 10, 12. So, but I used a 12 with a 550 grain sink tip, because I just want to try to get deep in the gnarliest white water that I found, like in the big waves, which I haven't done with great success anyway. But I've used a 12, but most of the time I'll use a 10. and sink his tip,
10.
450 grains, and that's it.
Good.
Hmm.
Nice. Well, I got a 10 weight, so I just need the money to go, man.
Right.
Yeah, give me the lines and the backing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing is if I take my 10 weight out there, I definitely need to put more backing on it because I think I only have maybe 50, 100 yards of backing on it because it's very rare that I get taken to the backing on
Yeah.
anything here. And so if I'm going anywhere like there, I definitely need a new line, new backing, more backing, and all that.
So for the backing, do you like
Well,
gel spun because you can pack more on there? And I think
Yeah.
because it's smaller, you can get stronger for the same like diameter, right? That ratio, you can get a little bit more strength with gel spun than regular backing.
I love Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Most of my reels, every reel that I own for those kind of waters and ocean, I use 50-pound gel strength, and I'm getting
Nice.
like 40% more of package in the pack in the reel.
Yeah.
Yeah, all 30% more backing than this 30-pound of front. Well,
Nice. I've never fished a gel spun. I guess I got to get some out.
Yeah, I think all I
yeah,
have is just regular
don't
Dacron
put the
backing.
finger around that. You know
Man,
what
that
we
sounds. Yeah, it'd be a bad day for sure.
do.
So while we're talking about gear, me and Marco were talking about this before the episode. Is it kind of difficult to get gear there? Because he was saying that he doesn't recall seeing hardly any fly shops out in like the villages and stuff like that. That mainly in Bogota you can
Right.
find something, but is it hard to get gear there?
Yeah. Right now there's a shop in Bogota. Well, he's a friend of mine, and he has some beer. With good brand, by the way. Sage, Range, and all this. Um, Also conventional. And there's no taco, but he has fly lines and he has stuff. Um, basically, he's the only one. He's the only one here in Bogota.
Really?
And then there's another guy. Well, it's not an actual shop, but Instagram shop, and he has some stuff. That yeah. Most of the things I have to bring in from where you guys are.
Really? That's crazy.
So, what's the fly fishing scene like there in Colombia? Like, is it pretty popular? There's still kind of like just a select few people going out there and fly fishing.
No, it's been growing. It's been growing a lot. From when I began to now, it's grown a lot. When I began, though, I knew no one. I never saw someone fly fishing on the first guy that I saw who brought me my first rod back in the day. I was like 15 years. Who was fly fishing like this,
Then
I was watching him, and I was saying, even that I didn't know anything about it, but I said, "Oh, but what can be it?" I mean, all that thing and the plywood land right there, 2 feet from him. So to now, obviously, Google and YouTube and all this stuff has opened a lot of opportunities for people to find different fishing options. Most of the people here would be fishing conventional, but right now there's a lot of people with an interest in fly fishing, and there's a lot of people fly fishing. Some very very good guys doing it, and beginners, way this time on 10 years ago. It's changed a lot in the last 5. Well, you don't have to count the 2020 because that's local. Of years that you will count, but maybe the last 10 years it's been growing and growing.
That's awesome.
that's pretty awesome.
So in terms of your clients, are the majority of them beginners, or do you get a lot of experienced fly fishermen that you take out?
Well, those came up with beginners as clients. But most of the people, they know how to throw out a fly. Maybe they're just new in jungle water.
I see.
Wow. And something happens all the time when you're new and you're with this anxiety building in these waters. And the first time you have a bite, you drop it. Um,
Yep.
please, please. That's the only thing I tell them. Please don't tell Frostbite you're gonna lose it. You're gonna break it. They will.
Yeah. Man, I remember the first time that I got extremely nervous on a fish. I was down in Louisiana in Venice and fishing for redfish. Do y'all have red drum there?
I don't think they go down
No,
that far.
Okay, so
no.
I was fishing for red drum, and I was up on the casting platform, and I saw this fish. It was 40 feet out, and I dropped the fly
Oh,
right in front of it, and I was just nervous and shaking. My knees were shaking, and I saw it take, and I went to trout set, and then I remembered like midway through, so then I started pulling my line, and I got a good hook set on it, and it took off, and my mind just was not working, and my line got wrapped around my reel. I couldn't clear the line. It
oh.
started to run.
Pow!
It pulled the rod out of my hand. I jumped down and laid on the front of the boat to grab the rod, and I was able to get it. And by that time, she had already broken off. And that was the first time that I'd really been nervous and didn't know what to do. I was just completely out of my element. And I was with my other buddy on the boat, and I said, "Hey, man, you go ahead and take some turn." I mean, my hand was shaking. I was just, for one, I was embarrassed. I was nervous. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I need to calm myself down before I get back on that casting platform. And that was just a redfish. I
Right.
couldn't even imagine a Payara or a peacock bass.
No, bro. I fished for redfish in Flamingo. I haven't been to Louisiana. I've been to Flamingo, and I
Mhm.
really dig those fish. And they're not as big, near big as those moses in Louisiana. But
Mhm.
I really dig those. Beautiful. Anything side fish is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So is there much sight fishing there in jungle waters?
Yeah, yeah. For peacock, especially for peacock, you can sight fish for them. You have to be watching the shoreline all the time, and you have to be watching the lagoon or the middle. I mean,
Okay.
they'll be cruising. Bigger fish will cruise from the deeper parts of the lagoons or the rivers, to the
Mhm.
shoreline to hunt, and then back. So you have to
I
be
see.
all the time watching. And when you see them, that's amazing. Especially if they're on, because sometimes you see a couple of peacocks, usually a big female and a male, and you throw the fly and they just don't give a damn. Uh, it's like, and you have a window of 5 to 6 casts more, like chip, and they're just going, they don't care, they don't care by a road sauce, man. And but then when they're on, and you just put the fly right where they need it to be, wow, the blow up, and it's so cool. And they run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marco
right,
caught a
Marco?
pretty
Oh,
big
sorry. I
one
was
when he
getting a
was
call. My
there.
bad. I'm sorry. What was that?
Is that the video
How
you
big
showed us,
was it,
Marco?
Marco?
11.7 pounds, somewhere around that range.
You're good. No,
How big
Jose.
was
Yeah,
your
Richard was
pickup?
with me when I stuck that one. I was blind casting because
Mm.
it had just
Was
rained.
that the one that you
We
got
got
video of?
rained on, and we sat under a tree with my hammock over it, trying to stay dry. And then we got back out in the lagoon, man. We had to push the boat through some pretty weird stuff, man. It was like this mud that was like mixed in with all these branches that had thorns that big sticking out of it. And everywhere you're stepping, you're like sinking down, and we're pushing the boat. Finally get to this lagoon, and then we get up on the edge of it. Well, first I stuck Richard with a fly in the ear. So that was, that was one thing. And then shortly after, I would start laying into a few peacock, and we get into this backside of that lagoon, and I just made this one cast, and I started stripping real fast, and I felt that bump, and I picked up that fly real quick and casted it right back out. And as soon as I got that second strike to bump it, she just went for it. I guess I must have been right above her bed because a lot of the fish were bedding down, protecting their fries. So a lot of the fish were just coming up, smacking the fly away. They'd come up like 2 or 3 times, and then by the third time, they'd probably eat or take off. And yeah, man, this one stuck, and she just ran, and I'm like, okay, just went to work. But yeah, those fish are no joke, no joke. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
you
That's
have to
crazy.
stop them. You have
Yep.
very
Yeah, she
small
tried to get under.
window
There was like
of what
a tree that was
20
laid
seconds to
over.
stop
She
them
was trying to
before
get
they
under
reach
that
us
the whole
back.
time. I'm like,
This is the
and
bigger one,
Blackwell,
or
our
you're
boat
done.
operator, he kept
Go,
going
go, go.
back and back, and I'm like, keep going because she's gonna get stuck under there, and I'm done. And I mean, he was pretty good at it. That's what they do. Those guys were really good at what they do. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I just want that payara. Uh huh. We had Armando,
yeah,
one of the guys.
yeah. It's nice
I
when
don't
you
know if
have
you got to
one.
meet him. I don't think he was there when you
Atrás,
showed up,
atrás.
but he stuck one of those 20-pound
Oh my.
peacocks, and it broke his line 3 times after every shot. I mean, just snapped line, and it was brand new line. We got in this one spot. He cast it. I
Oh yeah.
casted first. He casted behind me. I started stripping my fly, and they wouldn't go for mine. It was the same fly, different color, and his would land behind mine, and they would hit his. And as soon as they'd hit, they'd go right under all the submerged,
Well,
whatever it was branches and trees. They would head straight down, and one of them just snapped his line in 2 seconds. He tied on another fly, casted it right back out. Another one, 3 shots, all three just snapped his
yeah.
line, every one of them. And they were big. I mean, we got to see the belly. Like one came up
Well,
side up, and it was the biggest peacock I've seen. I mean, easily 20 pounds. I mean, just monstrous. It made mine look small. And I'm not saying mine's there were some bigger, a little bit bigger ones caught, but it was the biggest one I've seen on that trip. And it was the last day we were there, so we had already seen a lot of fish. It was insane, man. Those things, they're so
definitely.
powerful.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, have you? I'm sure you had this
Yeah.
with your fish, even if it wasn't an 11 pounder. That doesn't
Oh, no.
matter because that's already a very strong size.
Yep.
Once you get them to the side of the boat, you think they're done, and usually you have your rod tip up, and you think they're
Yep.
done, and someone's gonna get them, and they make this last
Hmm.
boom down, which is so characteristical of them.
Yeah.
Peacock, like pow and diving
Hmm.
again, which I've seen several rods break in that moment. You're here, right? Or hitting the
Hmm.
the boat.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, they're just amazing, man.
Yep.
Once you get the bigger ones, I mean the
Yep.
8 pounders, like the
Yep.
speckled ones, which is the speckled are the same
Yep.
barred bigger peacocks. It's the same. Yeah, but when they're speckled, they're not sexually
Oh,
mature
yeah.
yet.
I
So,
see.
and they can be big. They can be 14 pounds anyway. And they
Yeah.
fight very hard. Maybe because they're not jerking off or whatever. They don't have any interest in that yet.
The one I
But they
pulled
fight
out, her
super hard.
tail was, I mean, just like
And
I
most of
got the
them
end
have
of it,
been
and it was
eight
like that
pounders, six
thick,
pounders, and they break
just
it.
the end of the
Like
tail. And I'm like, man, that's
nothing.
why it's so powerful. They got all that muscle back there, just pushing. It's insane. Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. It reminded me
But
of like a big carp. But the carp tail, it'll usually get a little thin on the backside of it
yeah, big
on their
paddle.
fin. This fin was just thick, just muscle on there. It's like, yeah, yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yep.
they're very special. Well, they're special. That's
Oh
why
yeah.
they're so famous. That's why those people, goes for this way to fish for them, of course, and they can kick you out anytime.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, do you get very many clients that are like from out of the country and all over the world because it is such a famous fish?
Yeah, yeah. In the last years, of course, there's a lot of Colombian
Jan.
people fishing for those. And then you get a lot of people from the States, Europe, Japan, China, Australia, um, Argentina, Chile, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, you're coming, and Colombia opened as one of those new frontiers in this level fishing. adventure thing, and so a lot of people began to show up on the definitely have some very nice fisheries on good fish. Yeah, very nice fish.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. It never
Yeah.
ceases to amaze me on how many cultures around the world actually enjoy fly fishing or have an interest in it because we think of it as Americans that it's the typical out west fishing a small stream, and it's
Yes.
starting to get away from that, which I really like. The fact that a lot of people are doing exotic fisheries and going saltwater and stuff like that. But whenever we started growing on this podcast and I started realizing that people in Norway and Sweden and Peru and Argentina and
Yeah.
Colombia and Honduras, like
Yeah.
a lot of these people will listen to the podcast, and it's crazy to think that like you don't see it a lot online, but people all over the world have an interest in fly fishing. And so it's crazy to hear
Yes.
that you have clients from Japan and China and stuff like that going down there is insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And of course, there's a lot of people coming with conventional gear.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think there's a little bit more and someone in the conventional world wanna hate me. But I think with fly fishing there's a little bit more sensitivity towards the fish. I don't know. Like for the, we're all interested in conservation because if we don't conserve, we lose the fisheries.
Exactly.
But fly fishing connects you in a different level. I feel like you like be sensible towards the fish, the surroundings, what they eat, the way you move, whatever you want them to eat. I don't know. Fly
Yeah,
fishing is
it's definitely a more intimate thing.
yeah, and it's so beautiful,
Yeah.
the cast and yeah,
It definitely is. So bringing up conservation, so I know here in the U.S. we have a lot of regulations. The government regulates a lot of what we do and what we can fish for and when we can fish for it and how we can fish for it, and you got to pay for this license and this permit and all sorts of stuff like that. And we had a guest
yeah.
on from New Zealand, and there is far less regulation over there. And so, how is it there? And the way that the U.S. does it is, so you got to pay for this license and you got to pay for this additional
Mhm.
stamp and this additional permit, and all that money goes into conservation. How does it work there? Is there a lot of regulation and costs that goes back into the cause?
The text.
No, no.
Yeah.
There's well, you guys have the wildlife. It's the wind guy.
We have
Conserve
wildlife
your
conservation stuff and departments of natural
okay.
resources and stuff like that.
Exactly. You guys have that, and it's well organized, and then you have your own rangers and researchers and all that stuff. That's something that we want to try to implement here, but in the regulations department, not good because there's a lot of people that don't know anything about first fisheries, second sport fishing,
Mm-hmm.
and third game and curve. So a lot of fishermen here in Colombia, we have joined forces trying to bring a regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all play the same game, but so far, I think people do understand catch and release, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that wasn't happening a lot back in the day. Now most people understand what catch and release is and the importance of catching and release. Um, mm, so yeah, that's about it. We had a problem with the constitutional court, and they want to ban sport fishing, and there's still a discussion there because
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand that when those people that are involved in sports fishing, we care and we care about the fisheries on the water and the redundancy of the species. And if there wasn't people like us, it's done. You
Yeah.
know, industrial fishing is gonna end it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's on not a good place.
Is
Yeah,
is there a particular reason they want to do away with sport fishing?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I would assume it's
well,
kind of like our stuff here. They say they care for the animal, oh, we don't think they need to go through that violence. I can see how
But
that's a thing, but they really don't know. And it's refreshing to hear you say that a lot of you sport fishermen and guides and stuff have come together for the better good of the animal because you care for it, that something's actually being done. And I think organized government getting into, regulations and stuff like that might not be the best way to do it. We talked about this previously on an episode, and we called it ballot biology, where essentially they have people voting on it, on what they think is best, but they don't know anything about biology or how it works. And so I think the ones that are out there, fishing and guiding and out there actually doing it, I think have more of an understanding. So to hear that the government's not regulating it is actually, I like that. I like the fact the ones that are actually doing it are the ones that are self-regulating themselves.
Well,
Yeah, we have.
I don't think.
Go.
Sorry, I don't think the government regulating things is, at least in terms of conservation, is necessarily a bad thing. For example, the U.S. has the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, but it's an agency that's dedicated specifically to that task, and they have professionals whose job it is to do the research and guide the regulations based on what they've done. It's more. And we see it in different levels, both state, local, federal, where people who they place individuals who don't have any idea, but who have the power to make decisions, and they make decisions that don't make sense to those who actually know what they're doing. And I think that's where it can get really dangerous, where you're putting people in position of power who have influence or can make these decisions who really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it can get really, really dangerous. But yeah, I just find it very interesting, like how other countries, like Rosa pointed out, they have different approaches to towards conservation. And for the U.S., they have it is called the Wildlife Habitat Restoration Act or something like that, Pittman-Robertson Act, where essentially whenever you buy any hunting related gear, or there's certain, I guess, items within that there's a concise tax placed on it, and that revenue goes towards conservation. And then additionally, like at every state, when you purchase licenses and stuff like that, all that gets allocated for conservation within the state. But then you have like private organizations like CCA, which is the Coastal Conservation Association, and other things like that do their own, like they raise their own money for their conservation stuff. Trial Unlimited is one of the huge ones. And then there's something similar for the fishing side. It's called, I think it's called the Dingell-Johnson Act or something like that. And again, like for certain fishery related things, there's a concise tax placed on it, and that goes towards conservation. And then every state also, for the sale of licenses and whatever, that stuff goes towards conservation too. And it's kind of interesting that in other countries that they don't really, it's more like reliant on the people, and in a way that's good, because then the people have to really care about it. But at the same time, if there aren't a lot of people that care about it, then it can be, kind of hectic.
Exactly. Yeah, but most of those organizations that you're talking about, they began, or they are private, and they exist because there's a passion, and then they just gather the money and researchers and people who love this way of life, which is what has to happen here also. And I'm hopeful that something like that comes to really happen, because another great part of this whole thing is Marco saw it as the people that are working in the fisheries right now, in the sport fishing chain, of people that are living in very far away places. These are people that were principally forgotten by the government talking today, and still, and now sport fishing and this whole tourism, special tourism that is going on not only with the sport fishing but also with bird watching, for example, and people that want to take photographs of wildlife and this have bring these people another way of living and earning good money, because most of the time these people were so forgotten that what would they do? They would go coke, coke plantations, deforestation, They would be in the exotic animal uh, selling thing,
Oh,
selling
the
exotic
trade.
species, the trade, yeah, which is banned everywhere.
Right.
What else? Overfishing, and basically destroying their surroundings. But what else could they do? How
Yeah.
else could they bring their money?
Yeah.
And now with the sports fishing and eco tourism, they finally have another way, which is super nice, which helps conservancy, which shows them that if they conservate whatever they're guiding for, they'll bring more money in because more people are interested in going their way.
Mhm.
So it's super important that is going on now, and all these people realizing that there's money in
Yep.
preserving whatever.
Yeah.
Fishing, a fish that is released is worth more money than any fish that is dead. So that's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
There. And I would imagine that in those places that are more remote and stuff, those individuals who live there probably have a more, I guess, intimate relationship with the
Absolutely.
land and the water and things that, that they inhabit, and in some way maybe one of the best ambassadors
Yep.
for conservation and things like that.
Yeah. We
They
got to
know
go through a
they
lot
know
of
no
those
trade.
towns that Armando's
That's
talking
that's
about.
Yeah,
their
From
house. The north.
Villavicencio
yeah,
to Fish Camp,
That definitely
four
makes
that,
four hour
sense.
trail drive,
that's pretty
you
cool.
know, 25, 30 miles an hour, 4 hours. There was little bars on the way there.
Right.
We hit about two different bars, have a couple beers there, hang out, talk to the locals, and then move on. We picked up a few of those folks from those little towns that we saw between there, and they came in. They were the people. They were the folks that were cooking the food for us, washing our clothes, taking care of everything on camp. And they did a tip top job, man. I mean, everything was over the top, just great. And I mean,
Yeah.
you get to talk to a few of these people, and you really get an understanding of where they come from. Some of them live on the river in villages. It was cool to see that. It's not something you see out here where we're at. So seeing that was really eye opening, and it definitely just gives you a different
Yes.
perspective on life, I feel. But it was awesome, man. They treated us with, just, I mean, it was some of the best treatment I ever received. It was awesome, man, just to be able to see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and I think to
absolutely.
Yeah,
add
there's
on to
some
that, man,
Just with the
when
bare
you were
bare
talking to me
minimum
about the trip
necessity,
market,
man.
you said
Like,
that some of the
they
those
didn't
people are
grow
probably
up
like
seeing all the
the
advertisement on
happiest people that
TV for every
you've
little
ever met.
thing
Just like,
that we buy, for everyday
cool.
use. And they make do with what they
yeah,
have, and they do it well, and they let nothing get in their way of getting to whatever they need to do, whether it be food. We got to see a lot of folks like posted
Yeah.
up on fish camps. They'd set up all their tents and whatnot, and they're out hunting or they're out fishing. They'd come back, and we'd kind of cruise by there at night when it started getting a little darker. You'd see their fires going. It was really cool, man. And yeah, everybody's got a smile on their face, man. They're all really happy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. They'll help you. They'll help you with anything. I mean,
man, that's
they're
awesome.
so nice. It's such a small percentage of bad people. Really, that all this anytime you
Yeah,
travel these rivers on the savannas and
yeah.
even the parts of the Amazon jungle,
Hmm.
people are just nice. They're just welcoming.
Yeah,
They're very welcoming. I mean, they always have a big, beautiful smile, and they'll offer you a cup of coffee. It's great. Beautiful
Yeah,
people that I'm so happy have found this industry as a way of life.
yeah.
It's great for everyone.
So I guess in that same vein, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been guiding now, and how did you find your way into the industry?
Well, I'm not guiding anymore.
No.
But I'm more hosting than guiding now. but well, I've been fly fishing for almost 30 years now. Fly tying and all that. Um, and guiding began from something around 2006, 2008, with friends that were coming from the States, but were new to this fishery, and I had a little bit of experience. So, yeah, I would tell them, do this and do that, and sometimes with great success, and I'll show them knots and connections and everything to the flies and the P-bars that we were fishing for, and that's how you began, right? Watching, uh, saying something here. Um, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. They're all daily wrong, but you learn, and then it
Yeah.
began as Colombia began increasing the amount of people coming to fish. I had the opportunity to
Have
work
you,
with a lot of
Armando,
people
have you
and
seen
guide,
a change
and
in
yeah,
the
that's
fishing
learning
itself
all the time,
from the
learn,
time
which is
that they
great.
started bringing in
Yeah.
folks from out of the country to come in and
That's
fish
very
those
awesome.
rivers to now, whether it be good or bad? Just,
But
right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's getting harder because fish are getting smarter. Well, yeah. Whenever there's more pressure in any fishery, it's gonna be harder. Back in the day when I began going to the Orinoco, which was back in 1999, and then I wouldn't stop for never. I've never stopped. Um, I would fish one of the rivers that is called the Vita River, and we would hire a boat, a truck, with our boat, 4 hours upriver, right on land, and that would be a week going downstream fishing,
Oh wow.
and what man, the amount of fishing of peacock bass that you'd see was amazing, and you wouldn't see no one in a week going downstream to the Orinoco. No one. And that happened like that for 4 or 5 years till I saw the first camp, which was very, very weird for me. Like, well, there's a camp. And then next year there were 3 camps, 4 camps, da. And then, yeah, fishing become harder, and then you had to think a lot about what you were going to do to try to fish a bigger one, especially because the smaller ones you still have average days of 30 fish a day, which is average. That's normal. But for example, one in a very very horrible day, I was fishing with a partner, and between both of us, we had like 8 fish in the whole day fishing this vehicle river, and then we were heading to camp, and I told our guide to stop, and so we could fish the mouth of a lagoon. I cast my fly, got a smaller one, but behind that smaller one was coming a bigger one. So I told my friend, "You cast right there." He casted, and he got another twin fish just like mine. So of course I released mine, got it again, and we began throwing
Damn.
fish back in the water, and again, and
Talk about
every
a good day
single
of
cast
fishing.
was a fish. And I ended up with a 95 peacock bass and my friend with 92 in the
holy
same spot.
smokes.
That's
Dude,
shit,
that's crazy.
man. The fly wasn't even a fly. It was like a hook with a little strand there because it was done, and they were still biting. We never had the bigger
Wow.
one, but we had, what was that? Almost 200 fish, the same size. Every single fish was the same size. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's insane.
That's the day that most people dream for. That's what.
Yeah, Yeah, fishing 4 to 6 pound peacock was one after the other one. Boom, boom, boom. Like, that was amazing. And I've never had another day like that ever. I mean, I've had the 30 fish a day, but like 95 a day. No.
That's nuts. How sore were you the next day?
Oh man, yeah, the finger, man. Absolutely scored, and because the casting was not long, not
Mhm.
anymore. It was just like pick it up and throw it right there. Boom, boom.
I
And it's
know
yeah,
before I went
yeah,
down there
yeah.
this
You
past year,
shoulder
Armando,
your shoulder
I had to
anyway
get my yellow fever
resents you
shot
after so many things.
and my
Man.
malaria medication before I went down there. Um, I mean, is that big down there? I know it's just for precaution,
Yeah.
but I mean, do y'all still see a lot of yellow fever down in that area? Do y'all still deal with a lot of malaria, or because I don't. I mean, just from talking to locals, I didn't really hear much about it, so I was kind of confused. I'm like, well, not that I wouldn't do it, but you know, I was just curious about it.
Well, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
now you know it's still around, of course. There's malaria and dengue and all those. Yes, they're
right.
all still around. I haven't heard yellow fever in
Yeah,
years. But they're there because there's
yeah,
mosquitoes and they're the ones that will give you the whole
yeah,
thing. Some locals have malaria and they just deal with the illness.
yeah.
They lost, and sometimes it takes up and they feel very ill, and sometimes they're healthy, but they still
Hmm.
have it. But it's not that big. I mean, uh,
Yeah,
there's another like chikungunya and all those other illness, jungle illness that are related to mosquitoes. They picked up like 7 years
yeah.
ago, and right now you don't hear
Well,
much about it.
better be safe
But
than sorry.
sometimes someone gets it, and it's
Mm.
it's gnarly. It's horrible.
So what precautions do people like if someone were to take a trip there that knows absolutely nothing about it? So you talked about malaria, yellow fever. What are some things that you would recommend personally that they do before they try to make a trip to go down there to Colombia?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, well, get your
Yep.
yellow fever vaccine anyway. Drink some B complex, vitamin, like vitamin B, B complex.
Mhm.
Okay, that one. Bring your DIT, good bug off spray.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it basically. I think that when you focus too much in one thing, you get it, right?
Mhm.
So if it's a good thing and you focus on it, great. But when you're focusing in something like this and
And
you don't want to get ill, but you're
after
all
the second
scared
day
that
there, I
not
was like, dude,
everything
if I get it,
good, you're
whatever.
getting
I'm
it.
down here. It doesn't matter,
So
man. Like I
yeah,
just, he's
just
right.
chill
Like I
out.
really didn't think about it much. When I came back, I had all those bumps on my hands from the mosquitoes. I was the no-see-ums. Yeah, I was getting hit. You don't even know it. When I got back for 2 weeks, I'm like, what's going on, man? Did I get something? And it's just those
Oh,
little
from the
mosquitoes, man. They're
museums.
so small. It's
People-
ridiculous.
Yeah, and they
It was
work
like,
in the
yeah,
afternoon basically.
like around
I don't know if
dusk,
you saw that
5 o'clock. I was starting to see them a lot.
they
I started
began
seeing a lot of them
biting
like around
you
3:30 in the
from
afternoon. That's when I was
5,
really seeing a lot of motion. I'd be doing this a lot. While I'm sitting
and
there stripping
then
my line. I'm like,
yeah,
ah. Or they get under your glasses. Oh man.
yeah, yeah. They don't respect no one. They won't respect no one. And then there's another one that we call eye suckers that I haven't seen them in a while. Dude. That's weird. But some rivers had this, and they're
Oh
these
wow.
black flies, very small black flies that they like to suck on your eyes, on the salty of your of your eyes. So they just come flying in, poof, right in. And it's not just one. In seconds, you can have a lot of them around your face. Uh, and that happened especially in some videos specifically. And I haven't seen them in a while. But they were, you didn't take off your glasses, or even with your glasses on, they would get
It's
in,
wild.
just doing that all
That
the time.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, covering up. I mean, museums won't respect even the locals. They don't care because you get sometimes a bit of resistance towards mosquito bites or anything like that. For example, if I'm
Mhm.
alone, they'll be biting me. But if any one of you guys sit around to my side and we begin talking or anything, they'll leave me alone. They're just eating you. And
Huh.
I'm sure about that because it's happened so many times. But museums,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
they'll bite
Yep.
the hell out of anyone.
Yep. They get under,
And being so
especially when
small,
they get
they
in,
bite
like
so
into
hard,
your
right,
shirt.
Marco?
They were getting
That
into my
you
shirt,
feel the
and I was
sting.
like, man, I was sitting there, I felt like a crackhead. I was like,
And sometimes you don't see nothing.
we need a hit,
You
man.
don't
What's
see
going
nothing.
on?
Yeah. Yeah, you just feel the what's
was
going
me.
on? And sometimes you check out your arm and you go like, when did I get freckles in my arms? And you go like this,
I think
and you kill
I
50
think
of
what
the
scared
bastards
me the
just
most
right
down
there.
there,
Wow,
we saw a couple
bunch of
caiman
blood in your
in
arm.
the
You
river.
didn't see
Wasn't
them.
too scared of
They were
those
just
guys. We were
sucking.
far enough away, but the red
Very
wasp, the nocturnal wasp, and it was weird. Yep,
well,
it was weird, Armando. We got to the second camp, which was a beach camp at night, and as soon as I
oh
walked
yeah,
in to the
yeah,
camp, we
yeah.
got across in
Turn
the
on
John
your flashlight.
boats. I get on the beach and I'm walking to my tent, and this, I mean, I wasn't prepared for it, but I see this wasp fly directly at me at night. The first thing I do is I swat it, and it hits the sand, and then I buried it. I kicked sand on it. I'm like, all right, you're not going to get out of there. And then I asked Mauricio at the camp, I'm like, what are you supposed to do with them? And they're like, oh yeah, you bury them. And I was like, how did I know that? It was just weird. It was like an instinct that kicked in. Casio got stung on his finger, immediately pulled out the stinger from his finger. And then one of the guys that was there, Zach, he got stung the first day, and his left forearm was so swollen. He was wearing nothing but long sleeves, and the shirt on him, it looked like he had been working out his forearm the whole time. It was just nice and snug fit, and the other side was real loose. Yeah, it was weird, man, the whole trip, and we're like, dude, are you okay? Yeah, he said it was bad, that it was hurting the whole trip. I'm like, God, man. Yeah, it was bad.
Had those Popeye arms
whole
going.
trip.
That's crazy, man.
Well, they bite hard.
The whole trip?
Yeah, yeah, you don't want to. That's especially in the night. They are attracted to light, and if you have your flashlight out and you're walking around with your flashlight, you're gonna get stung. That's how it happened to me several years ago. Stung me the first one in my back. He sat down right away. It was so hard. And I've had several more. We call those casawis. We call them casawis.
Yeah, big and red.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's another name for those.
I
don't remember right now, but one of those things is that casawi. They're big. They're red. Big and red. Big, red, and mean.
There's just something about bugs at night that, like, I mean, I don't mind bugs hardly at all. But at nighttime, wasps, cockroaches, stuff like that, they just give
wildlife while you've been out on the river. Like
so much worse at night for some reason.
Caiman.
Yes.
Yeah. You ever had a run-in with any where it got kind of weird?
No. I've seen them.
Yeah.
No, not really.
I've seen the movie.
And I try to give them their space. So I know there's people that Oh, Anaconda, let's go grab it. No, 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 no. Um, yeah, and just leave them alone. Which is there, she just digesting something and there. Don't grab it, don't nothing. This is funny. For all the deals that I've been going there,
What was
I
that,
haven't seen
Armando?
a jaguar.
What animal?
I've heard
Oh,
them,
jaguar.
smelled them.
I thought I
I've
saw a
seen the
pantera.
prints. I've never seen one.
I thought I saw
Really?
one.
I don't know.
Everyone keeps telling me it was a river otter.
Jaguar?
Jaguar.
I know what I saw.
No.
I know what I saw. That tail was
Really?
thick on him, and he was going uphill. I saw his leg, his rear leg, and the tail. I
Oh,
said,
well.
"Pantera!" And Flaco,
Okay,
the boat operator, is like,
Okay,
"No,
well.
it's perro de agua." He said, "Otter." I was like, "I don't know. That was black." Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sea otter. Yeah, the
Yep.
river. Well, the thing is, those river otters that we have here, those are the bigger ones. That species is
Yeah.
huge. Well, yeah, you could easily mistaken that for something cat catish. Because man,
I'm
I have
gonna
been
see one.
going
I'm gonna see
there
one coming up.
for so many
I know I
years,
am.
and this is your
I just
first
hope
time
I'm
and you
not
see
in front
one.
of
I'm
it when it
gonna hate.
happens.
It,
Right.
yeah, it's funny that the last time a jaguar was seen in my group, I was behind some friends that were in the first boat, and we stopped because something in the middle of the river, and they just went. So we were there for 5 minutes, 5 minutes, no more than that. So then we go again, and then we find these idiots screaming and everything in the middle of our pool, looking towards the reefs on the the walls in the Como River, and I just go like what? And then they show me the film
In the
they
tree?
had on the cell phone.
On the wall. Oh man.
Jaguar
Oh.
like this, just like this, right there in the
His little
wall.
paws crossed.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
before the jungle, right there outside, looking them from up. That with their hands like this, looking them like this. Yeah, and then these guys were shouting, screaming, and everything, and she just
Jesus.
goes like, "Mwah," and goes super slow into the jungle, and I missed that for 5 minutes.
Oh
It's
man,
That
dude.
sucks.
That'd
yeah,
be an
well,
incredible thing
oh
to
yeah,
see.
the video is amazing. I have the video, and I'm never erasing that point. It's beautiful to see that animal.
Damn.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I
That's
haven't seen
crazy.
one.
I mean, I've seen them in
I've seen.
captivity at zoos and stuff, but I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine seeing
Oh,
one in the wild. That
That's
would be awesome.
strong. Yeah.
has to be awesome. I mean, just the smell when I cat urine is super strong. Well, jaguars have the males of these very big territories, so they pee on the whole thing, and it really smells bad. Uh, and the print, which I have a lot of pictures of my hands just to the side of the jaguar print,
Yeah.
big print. And sometimes I've heard them, like,
Well,
whoa,
I bet that would be
yep,
eerie.
especially like right next to camp,
Yeah.
dude.
just gonna,
Oh,
yeah,
That
yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I've seen mountain
most of the
lions in the
time,
wild and bears, but I don't know. Jaguars are just
beautiful
different. I mean,
creatures,
mountain
man.
lions are big cats, and they're very interesting. I've seen one in the wild, but jaguars are just so more majestic.
yeah, and we have jaguars here. Excuse me, pumas and cougars.
Oh, you do?
We also have those here.
Have you seen one?
No, 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 no. More the only cats that I see are the ones here in my house, man. I don't know. I need to see one in the wild. With
Man, well,
the
hopefully you can see
spotted.
one soon, and hopefully not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. No, hopefully not. Yeah, not on wood.
Yeah. Well, that's
I've got a
awesome.
better
Well, I'm
phone
hoping
this
that I'll be
time,
able to get
so
a trip
I'm
down there soon.
definitely
I know
gonna
Marco's about
I'm
to
gonna
go here
delete
next
every
month, and
video and picture I
I'm pretty sure
have,
we're going to
save
get
it to the
plenty of
cloud, and
stories and
it's gonna be
pictures and
fresh
videos
on for
from
that,
it.
man.
But
Because last time I went down there, I had my XR. That's like 6 or 7 phones behind. So the pictures I was taking of the guys catching fish, they were kind of cruddy, man. I felt bad, but I was like, I was gonna get a new phone before I went, but I didn't want to drop it in the water, and it was gonna go to waste. So I probably should have, but oh well. The what?
Then
Camera?
yeah,
can,
Get your
well,
little
I
action
take an
camera, little
actual
GoPro or something.
I take a
Yep.
camera. I use a camera. Yeah, Canon. Now you know what I did? I used to bring the bigger one with the bigger lenses, because you get so much better pictures done. I mean, I know the cell phone is very comfortable, and the newer cell phones can take great pictures and everything. But there's something to the actual bigger lens and everything that you get
Mm-hmm.
in better pictures. But what I did now is I bought this Sony very small camera, who no one would even imagine does all the thing it does, with great image. It has a 700 millimeter optical lens. Man, the thing gets anything from
really.
afar. And then I just carry it very easily, and
Oh
get
yeah.
super
Yeah.
amazing pictures with that thing, instead of carrying my cell phone and being afraid of throwing it into the water, right?
Huh. I might have to look into that because there's a lot of times that
I'll be right
because
back,
right
guys.
now like I'm recording on my Nikon D750, and taking the
Uh-huh.
camera and the other lenses and stuff like that. I love having it because the quality of stuff I get, but I'm always scared to take it on the water.
Yeah, but I had that, but of course you have your camera bag and with your lenses and everything. You have it in a well protected place, and whenever you need to take a good picture and you bring out that camera which is folded out, and then you see the actual picture or pictures that you get, even if you're shooting in several, several frames per second or whatever, and you get to see what you're actually taking. Man, it's so worth it.
Yeah,
I've lost 2 cameras already to humidity, and once that I fell in a river, and yeah, sad and everything, but it's so worth it to bring your big
yeah,
camera out there.
and have those memories in high quality.
I mean, it's a
Yes.
big trip. People
Yeah.
are coming from long ways. Like having those photos seals the deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And then you get back home. You're gonna have 2,000, of course, pictures, and you're gonna begin editing and erasing whatever is not good, and then going, wow, shit, this is how like that, because you can actually see the whatever in the small screen. Though I shut it off, so my battery is good for longer, right? So I
yeah.
don't see the actual image. I'm always taking the pictures from the here.
Viewfinder.
Um, yeah, from the viewfinder, and I try not to see anything, just like if it was analog, and then come here back to my house and then plug in the camera and watch whatever I took in, and it's sometimes you go, oh, could have done this or done that, but sometimes you surprise yourself in such a great way with amazing pictures and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that we us in this age we're all spoiled. We have the availability to look at it, but
Yeah.
taking a long trip like that and shutting the screen off, I can't even imagine the joy that you get from finally seeing them. You're already off the river, you're
Yeah.
sitting at home, and then you're seeing, reliving what you saw in high quality. I bet that's an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And trying to show everyone, look at this, look at yeah.
That's
People,
awesome.
well, okay, yeah, well, this all, no, you have to see this all over. So,
That's so cool.
yeah, it's
So we're
great.
kind of
It's
coming
great.
up close to time.
Such a nice
So
place.
oh yeah, it looks like it for sure. So we're kind of coming up close to time of having to start to end this episode. So where can people find you?
Oh, I have my website,
Instagram.
www orinocoflies.com.
Okay.
I mean Instagram also as Orinoco Flies. Yeah, but my two ways of catching me. My email, Armando orinocoflies.com. But yeah,
Okay.
basically my webpage and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I put the link for your
Yeah.
Instagram, your webpage in the description. So those of y'all that are watching that might want to take a trip or just want to get some flies or just need some information, go ahead and reach out to him.
Or talk fishing you.
Yeah. It's always fun
Those
talking
flies,
fishing, right?
Yeah, it's so
the,
much fun.
those flies work too, man.
Oh God,
They
I'm
work.
so
They
glad
work
you
really
had a
well.
try and
Yeah,
no.
yeah. No, they
First hand
work. And I
experience
still,
there.
I still have some, so they're going to get used on this trip coming up too. So,
Oh, you still have the the Payara ones. You
oh
still have
yeah,
them, right?
yeah. And some of I bought some of your poppers as well.
Yeah, nice.
Those poppers
Yeah,
are
you
going to
let
get
me
used
know.
on this one for sure.
Yeah, I go hard. Sometimes I don't know. Lately, people are not but eager to strike the poppers. I don't know why. But when they do, man, that explosion, you know, chuk, 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 boom,
Hmm.
so hard and so beautiful to see them on the drive-by on the jungle
Yeah,
drive-by.
yeah.
And I
Yeah,
can't even
poppers were
imagine
amazing,
the
man.
top water blow up from a Payara or something like that.
Mm.
But that's
It's,
insane.
they blow so hard because they inhale, right? They just
Mhm.
inhale. They make this air hole when they're inhaling, whatever. So it
Uh-huh.
sounds like when you're closing the lid of a fridge. Boom. Oh,
Damn. That's insane.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys have to come. You guys listen to Marco. Listen to Marco. Come on over and you have a great time.
Yeah, it's definitely on my
Great
list.
fisher.
It's something that I'm gonna make happen soon for sure.
Yeah, one day for sure.
Yeah, come on
Well,
over.
man, we appreciate your
Well,
time. And is there any other things that you want to plug? You want to plug your business? Anything coming up with your business that you want to talk about before we go ahead and get off here?
um, uh, well, guys, thanks for the opportunity. Good things are coming for Orinoco Flies. A lot of ideas coming up, not only on flies. New flies are uploaded to the catalog. New Arapaima flies, for example, that I never upload anything to the catalog that I haven't tried myself first. You know, I don't like to try something and take a picture and go sell it just because. I like to a lot of thought into whatever I'm trying, and now those new Arapaima flies after finally going after those fish, which by the way are also amazing. And yeah, merch is coming up. A lot of ideas, a lot of cool ideas for Inaco flies and fishing places. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for the space, man. Great
Hey,
to be here with you guys and yeah, talking fish.
hey, we appreciate your time, and we're definitely gonna stay in touch. I'll definitely remain in touch, and can't wait to see everything that you have coming.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That's great. Yeah,
Of
we'll
course.
stay in touch and yeah. Any other time that you want somebody to fill in for whatever, call me. I
Hey,
mean,
awesome, man. I appreciate that. We'll definitely love to have you on again. And for those of y'all that are watching at the end, we will catch y'all next time.
This has been Wildlife Outdoors. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook at Wildlife Outdoors and on Instagram at wild.life.outdoors. Let's go live life on the wild side.